All right, our last assembly speaker for today is Lily Halverson speaking on Beyond Our Footsteps.
I've always understood the cliche, stepping into someone's shoes as embodying someone else, empathizing with another's experiences and feelings. But for much of my adolescence, the first question that came to my mind when I heard this expression was, well, what kind of shoes? From my tan-colored classic Bailey button Uggs to my not-so-legendary fluorescent utility Nike Forces, from Miranda Singh's notorious hot pink Crocs to my little black patent leathers and misunderstood DIY Doc Martens, my shoes have perpetually cycled throughout my life, reminding me of my greatest and most mortifying memories. Shoes aren't just shoes. They're a form of self-expression, but they're also a physical manifestation of my character, the places I've been, my observations, and my encounters. Our shoes serve as metaphorical passageways into our own life experiences. They are symbolic of not only the physical imprints we leave on the places we have been, but also the figurative imprints those places leave on us. I know this is true for many of you. Step into my shoes and you'll witness the fundamental rites of passage in my life. Step into someone else's shoes and you'll witness theirs. Or at least that's how it's supposed to work. But this cliche has been so commonly stated throughout the years that it has become normalized. Thus, the true meaning is lost. Shep Hyken, a New York Times bestselling author, speaker, and Forbes magazine contributor, states that 75% of employees feel that empathy is undervalued. 37% of employees feel their company doesn't empathize with them. If we want to progress in the realm of empathy, we need to make sure our values align with our actions. In reflecting upon the different brands and styles and colors of shoes I've worn throughout my years, I have failed to realize that my shoes ought to mean more than just the iconic brand or style or color. In our day and age, empathy too has become disingenuously iconic. This phenomenon is all the rage, not only in our own Blake community, but also in corporate boardrooms and political campaigns. Everyone thinks they're challenging themselves to develop more diverse perspectives and accept different types of individuals in our world, but are they really? Empathy seems to be thrown around excessively with no real background experience of what it takes to truly empathize. It has taken me a long time to realize that the most impactful shoes in my life have not been the most iconic. Perhaps the most unaesthetically pleasing shoe, the sandal Keen, made the biggest imprint on my summer experience. These simple closed-toed Keen sandals took me to my 5th and final summer at Concordia Language Villages, which was indicative of the work it takes to step in the shoes of people who may differ from us. My counselor work included a dreaded kitchen shift that lasted 3 hours each day. 3 native Chinese women and I stood at the baking table for hours upon hours rolling sesame balls. In the process, we began to share our own insights, ask questions, and most importantly, become much more than just acquaintances. Learning the tips and tricks of cooking and baking authentic Chinese cuisine introduced me to the lives of the 3 women I worked with, giving me an empathetic and pluralistic perspective that simply knowing the Chinese language did not fully allow. Immersing myself in Chinese culture meant working alongside the 3 women as their equal. Cultural barriers diminished, and we worked together as one cohesive unit. My scuffed low-top Converse were the shoes I wore on the airplane that landed here in Minneapolis on August 12, 2013, the day I moved here from Pennsylvania. Moving plays a huge part in my life story. Like each one of us in this room, I know how it feels to be like a fish out of water in a new and unfamiliar situation. I remember well when I came to Blake and sat on the sidelines of the playground. I had been at the school for a week, and the teacher called my mom in confusion and asked if I had made any friendships in my previous school. When asked what I was doing, I responded, "I'm watching the kids to see who the nice ones are." This was quite significant. Vulnerable as I was looking for the kids who already knew how to be nice and dismissing those who weren't. It has been 7 years since then, yet we are still on that same playground. The childlike perception of the world of nice or not nice, of good or bad, continues to be ingrained in some aspects of our adult relationships today. This is problematic. We need to move beyond these rudimentary categories of how we perceive people. Tolerance is the surface level approach in dealing with people who we categorize as bad or not nice. We need to move past the mere gesture of tolerance because ultimately empathy and tolerance are two different concepts. Empathy is digging a little deeper, going beyond stepping in someone else's shoes. Today, I ask you all, going beyond just envisioning yourself in someone else's shoes, what does the work of empathy require? What does it look like beyond some dull, trite statement like, I'm sorry, or I hope you feel better? Empathy is part of the human condition. It cannot be commodified. Yet like shoes, empathy isn't about one size fits all. It takes patience and work. As we walk through these halls, each one of us has an opportunity to figure out what empathy means to us and why it matters. Does seeing something from someone else's perspective demand that you act differently? Yes, it's unquestionable. And yet there are so many people who do this well. Think for a moment about a person who truly showed you they cared. Look for these people and mirror them. Empathy requires action. It is so much more than the cliche. Amidst our technological advancement, empathy is one of the most essential keys in assuaging the loneliness in our generation that continues to be on the rise. Ella Wheeler Wilcox once said, when you cry alone. But when you laugh, the whole world laughs with you. I don't agree. I say laugh when they laugh and cry when they cry. Everyone wants to be understood no matter what pair of shoes they stand in or what walk of life they come from. If you are in a leadership position, ask yourself, did I follow up with that one student who was struggling? Am I being supportive enough? Am I truly looking out for their best interests? If you are a friend, push through and check on those who have pulled away. They may be experiencing something beyond your grasp. Still, let them know you are thinking of them. If you are a student, have you truly taken a moment to appreciate what your teachers do for you? The fact that they have busy and stressful lives too. Maybe they are not perfect. Have you given them a second chance? We think we're playing a zero-sum game or following some sort of mandatory protocol. We put a cap on how much empathy we have to give. However, this innate capability of ours is incalculable. We don't know how much we have to give until we actually give it. Empathy is unplanned. It sometimes happens by surprise. Now it is up to us to surprise ourselves. Thank you.